Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of 2016. Last time around we set up our initial squad, training and all that kind of stuff, so that is all done. What we're going to do first time in this episode, we're actually going to get stuck into the training. So, what I've actually done off camera is I've actually gone through the first team, the B team and the under-19s and actually set up individual position and roles and also additional focuses here. So basically specific attributes or specific areas that we want our players to develop on. The reason I'm doing that for every single player in our club, all the way from the senior team down to the under-19s, is that once we get into the normal season, the team training will be set up to reflect the fact that our guys are going to have basically additional workloads. So team training is going to be a little bit lower than what maybe it normally would be. So basically means that we need all of our guys to have individual focuses, individual attributes that we need them to work on. Also because obviously player development is going to be a massive part of this game. So we're going to need to shape all these players, especially the younger players, but obviously everyone in the club, shape everyone to actually to be able to play the roles that we need them to play to achieve what we want to do. So that's the reason we put so much time into this. So like I said, I've gone through and done all that off camera. Nothing else has changed. I haven't touched anything else and changed anything else. I haven't progressed the game. I've just gone through and done all the training. So I'm going to go through and point out a few people here. I won't go through all of them here. If you want to pause the video and have a look, you actually see here. I have set up position roles for everyone. So basically I've set them up for the position and roles that I want them to be playing. Not necessarily what they're best at doing at the moment, but I'd rather train them to actually be playing the roles that they will be playing game in, game out. So that's the reason I've gone through and done those. Laren Duarte and Mike Vanderhorn haven't got anything set up because they'll be going out on loan quite soon. So that's the reason for that. Alrighty, so Sillison is pretty much hasn't really got a whole lot of training or development left in him. Probably could be able to squeeze out a couple of points. I've gone for a little bit of a controversial decision, actually gone for quickness for him. So I'm basically wanting to maybe get his sweeper keeper roles a little bit better. So I want to get his acceleration up a little bit. Probably could have looked at first touch and things like that as well, and maybe even his kicking and his passing, which aren't amazing. Although his throwing's okay really for a sweeper keeper. I'm just thinking that I want him to be a little bit quicker off his line to be a sweeper keeper. Just even like 1 point would be enough, up to 12, and then we'll probably switch it over into either kicking or passing to make sure he can distribute from the back a lot better. Who else have we got here? Kenny T. We've set up Kenny T, the position role complete wing back, and we've actually increased his stamina. I've done that because his stamina is only 13. Complete wing backs, especially in the formations that we play and the tactics that we play, we need our guys to be up and down the line all game, and he's going to get worn out way too much with a stamina of 13. I know there's only 19, it will increase naturally. I'd want this to be up around the 15 mark though, so I want it to increase at least a couple of points for him to be able to play week in, week out. And the reason I've actually done that is the rest of his stats are actually relatively good. Obviously for a wing back, his crossing's not amazing. But it's okay. We can work on that a little bit later. Off the ball and positioning are fairly good for what we need to do. Work rate, teamwork, all that kind of stuff is good. Composure could do a little bit of work, as could team technique. But in terms of his marking, passing, and tackling, they're actually all really good for a wing back. So I'm going to focus on his stamina just for a couple of months, hopefully get that up to at least another point, and then hopefully with some age it'll increase up again, and then we'll switch over into some other stuff. Who else is some important guys that we've got? So we've got Mr. Richard Lee here. So he is, what we've done with him is, where are we? Deep lying playmaker, right? So he's obviously a defensive midfielder natural at the moment. He also is natural at the centre back though. I think he'd be wasted at centre back. He's obviously got the off the ball as 14, so that would be wasted as a centre back. So I think having him as a playmaker, a deep lying playmaker, is going to be the way to go. So what we're doing is actually increasing his positioning just a little bit. I want to get that up a couple of points. Obviously 18, so lots of room for improvement. I want to get that a couple of points. And then I'm going to focus on I think most of his physicals are okay. Stamina could do with a little bit of work, but it's not really as necessary. All his mentals are actually very, very good. So I'm thinking after we've done his positioning, we may even go maybe 1 more point off the ball, but probably more likely will be some passing. Actually get his passing and his technique up a little bit so he can distribute from the back a lot better. I'm not going to go through everybody. Davy Klaassen, one of my favourite players here. We're actually going for passing training with him. I know from experience that he's off the ball, he's brilliant. His physicals are totally fine for what we need him to do. His mentals are really, really good, decision making, all that kind of stuff. For getting his passing up to 15 or even 16, he becomes an absolute tank. So we're going to do the same thing with him there. El Ghazi. A little bit of a strange player because he's obviously a winger at the moment, although we want him to be playing sort of inside forward / striker roles. So what we've done with him is we put him on the inside forward sort of position role, and I've actually gone for his quickness. I know he's relatively quick anyway. I want to get his acceleration up another point or two, just because like he's a little bit of a sort of an odd player that a wingers doesn't really fit into our formation, so we don't really want a winger playing. So we have to transfer him into something else really. Either we make him into an inside forward, which he could do, I think, or we make him into sort of a like a deep lying playmaker, a deep lying striker, or a false nine or something like that. So we're going to do a point or two of quickness. Hopefully, his acceleration up, and then we're going to transfer into some other stuff. Probably another point of off the ball, and then we may even look at maybe some finishing and composure training after that. So that's what we're doing with him. Who else can we look in? Mr. Abdulhaq Nouri. So he's 18-year-old. We've brought him out from the B team. He's got a lot of potential. So another 2 stars of development that he can do that, which is very, very good. So what we've done with him is sort of in the same situation. He's actually his attributes at the moment are a winger. We want him obviously to play an inside forward role. So what we've done with him, done the same thing. We actually put him onto some quickness training because he needs to be a little bit quicker. He's going to need to be quicker than this to actually be an inside forward. He's natural at an AMC, so he's a really good. He could be an awesome playmaker, but we're never going to play with a playmaker. We're never really going to use that sort of role. So if we do that, he's going to be wasted. He's either going to have to switch back to the midfield and do that. In which case, I think he's probably be a little bit light in terms of some of his physicals, like his strength and stuff. It could be a little bit too light. So I'm actually going to just put him on the inside forward role to see how he goes for a little while. See how he goes for a season. If it's sort of not working out, and we need to sort of think we're switching back into the midfield centre role. We can also do that a little bit later. So we're going to do some quickness for a while. Then we'll sort of move off and do probably some off the ball primarily. And then, because obviously his technique, passing, first touch up, brilliant. And that is really, really good. So probably we'll do that for now. Who else have we got? That's probably all the the main guys in here. I've obviously haven't covered everybody, but that's fine. B team, I'm not really going to go through many of these at the moment. I haven't really got time. I'm actually going to show you what I've done. So if you want to sort of stop the game and have a look at actually, what I've done with all these players, I've set up the same thing. I've set up roles about basically a lot of these guys as well. It's not really the roles that they are suited to at the moment. It's the roles that I actually want them to be playing in the team. So I want them to basically develop up so they actually can play a role in our team. So I've actually missed here Nathan Lader, I guess. So what we're going to do with him, actually do him now. So centre back, natural centre back, also natural at defensive mid. You actually could be a decent defensive mid. How many centre backs have we got? 1, 2. Also making Mr. Dragisa. He is. We're actually switching him to a centre back. So he's natural at the left. I'm actually going to make him into a centre back because he's never going to be a good wing back. His crossing and things like that are just never going to be good enough, unfortunately. He's not enough of attacking play, like he's off the ball and stuff. He's 5. He's never going to be a wing back for us. He's too limited in that respect. So I'm just going to switch him back over to a centre back there. Right, so Mr. Lader. I don't think we have any really good defensive mids, actually. I'm actually thinking we're going to make you into a defensive deep lying playmaker. You've got the stats for it. You've got some good vision. Your passing's pretty good. Your technique and stuff's okay. Leads a little bit of work. Your physicals are okay. Your mental's actually really quite good. Your decision making, all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking we'll actually make you into a deep lying playmaker. So to do that, what do we need you to do? 18 years old, your stamina and stuff and strength will come up a little bit. But obviously, all these physicals will come up in time because given his age, they'll increase naturally. So we could put some work into there. We'll just wait to see how that goes, develops for a season or two. I'm thinking what we're going to do with you is actually put you onto technique training. I think to be a deep lane playmaker, you have to be a little bit better on technique. So we put you onto defensive midfielder, deep lane playmaker, and then put you onto your technique training. So like I said, I'm not going to run through all these guys. Like I said, if you want to sort of stop and have a look at what I've done with all these individual players, then there you go. But we'll sort of look at some of these guys, in our sort of 3-month reviews that we'll probably do. So And here's the under-19s. It's done the same thing with all these guys. Set these up on roles and additional focuses as well. So some really potential, really good players in here. So you can keep a close eye on these guys. Make sure they develop really, really well. Alrighty, so that's probably enough of me talking for the moment. What I think we may do, we're going to look at tutoring and stuff a little bit later. Obviously, tutoring is a massive part of player development. I'm going to look at that just probably a week or two. I'm going to sort of get through some more of the game, and we'll sort of look at, if we end up bringing some new people in or some new under-19 guys in, we'll look at that. But for the moment, I think we're going to do that. So I don't think there's really anything else we need to do here at the moment. Still waiting on a bunch of our new staff members to come in. So hopefully those contracts and stuff start coming, start coming through soon. So I'm actually going to go start running the game a little bit, get through some time and see what happens. So obviously we've got a friendly today at Club Brugge. What I think I'm going to do with the games, I'm not going to obviously show you the full games. What I think I may do, I'll play the game through off camera. I'll pause the video, and then what I'll do is come back in and, probably for friendlies, it's not really a point to show you, especially for competitive games. What I'll do, I think, for the long term, I may end up doing either monthly snapshots and showing you the important games, or I may actually sort of just play the games off camera and then show you the important bits, or if there wasn't anything important, then just skip through it. So that's what I think I'll do there. So what have we got here? So just some offers or some messages here, nothing too important. FC Greengen been linked to a player, Michael Delou. Doesn't look like he's going to be all that good a player really. So probably not real. We don't really need any more sort of first team players, I don't think. Match preparation, that's totally fine. So you keep proceeding through the game. We've got our team selection for today's match. So I'm just going to let our assistant pick it. There's not really any point in doing anything else there. Friendly matches don't really matter, to be perfectly honest. I manage them myself only so I can actually sort of make some substitutions and switch our team around at halftime. So sometimes the assistant manager doesn't really do that well. So friendly matches are primarily just for conditioning and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to pause the game here. I'll jump back into it and show you, the results and all that kind of stuff afterwards. So I'll be back in a sec. Hey everyone, and we've just finished that first friendly match against Club Brugge. It was 2-1 victory for us. It was fairly comfortable, really. They obviously had a lot more shots than us, but obviously just being a friendly, nothing was really not really too worried about any of that kind of stuff yet. So that is totally good. Always good to have a victory in a friendly, but it doesn't really matter too much. Cool. All right, Ajax fortunate to beat Club Brugge. Yeah, whatever. All right, so Daily Sinkraven is out for 2 weeks. So 2 of our guys took some knocks, which is a bit unfortunate. So he's be out for a couple of weeks. Klassen is going to be out for 7 days, 5 to 7 days. So a little bit unfortunate to pick up those knocks early on, but that's okay. We should be able to deal with those. Alrighty, get through some more games. We've got another friendly come up soon against Red Bull Salzburg. And just one of our new coaches. We're just going to accept all these contracts, which is good. This is a new feature of the game, guys. Alright, so new signings, whether they are staff or players, you actually send them on an intensive language course. So if they don't speak the language, you can send them on the course. It doesn't cost a whole lot, really. It takes 12 weeks. And really, really good feature. So especially for new players coming overseas, coming from overseas. Obviously, something the clubs do in real life. They pay for help them to speak the language and settle in, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really cool. So actually, you can send all our guys on, all our new signings who don't speak Dutch onto new courses. So it just improves their effectiveness when they're training and all that kind of stuff. So some new scouting reports about some guys that we could sign. So we've got Ron Vlaar, which is an interesting signing. I'm thinking we're going to scout him nonetheless. Obviously, he's only 30 years old, very, very experienced player. We're going to look at him potentially. I'm thinking not, because I'd rather train up our new guys. And obviously, he's not going to be a sort of a short-term fix. We have Mr. Nurbitten. He's Israeli, so we're not particularly interested in him. Not because he's Israeli, but because he's not Dutch, like we've mentioned before. We're really only sort of interested in Dutch players, and Samaras there. So cool. Right, that's all good. So we keep coming through the game. Financial fair play regulations, that's fine. Farina, going to accept him. Or finalise the contract, which would be good. So he's a new scout. Going to do the same thing, send him on a language course, which is good. Some recommendations from him. No sort of Dutch players there, so we're fine. Physio, which is good. Some messages there. We'll go through those fairly quickly. Football Manager can be a little bit of a difficult game to sort of let's play, because like I think I mentioned in the first episode, it can be very... NAC Breed have offered Stam as job as a manager. Oh, dear me, I don't really want to do that. Very good working relationship. Hope you stay at the club. I don't think it's fair to be interfering. Like, yeah, fair enough. I can understand he's going for a manager job, so yeah. Disappointing to lose him though. He's obviously a defending coach of 20. Very, very good coach. So I suspect we will lose him, which is unfortunate, but there's not really anything we can do about that. Southampton have made a bid for Davy Clarkson. We're not going to accept this at all. He's worth way more than £5.75 million. I wouldn't take anything less than at least 10, probably more, to be perfectly honest. Davy is an absolutely amazing player, so we're going to reject the offer and say it's not good enough. The problem with Ajax you can have a lot of the time is that players can be quite unhappy that you don't let them move on. You've got to basically, in my experience, you've got to be quite tough with them. You've got to basically end up sort of saying that, you know, we're not going to let you go unless we get offers that we think are good enough. And usually that does work. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it's okay. Most of the time you can sort of keep players unless you guys sort of get really outrageous offers, in which case they get really upset then. A new coach there. And David Clarkson wants an improved contract. Send our new coach on a language course, that's fine. So what he's doing, he's on 10.25k to 10.25k a week for contract until 2018, so another 3-year contract. I'm actually going to be okay with this. Obviously this happens a lot. If you reject the request, they can get quite unhappy. I'm not too unhappy about doing this, so as long as they don't put in future fees, that's when you run into some problems. So this is sort of a new screen, so I'm just going to sort of make sure that there's no minimum fee release costs. Alright, so that's when you run into problems is when they put those in there. So what does he want? Is he Kelly play? He wants a contract until 2019, that's not a problem. He wants 25k a week. Wow, that's too much. How much have we got in terms of our wage budget? Wage budget remaining 51k a week, so we do have a fair bit remaining in our wage budget, so it's not too much of a problem. I don't really want to set a precedence though. You're already earning 10.25k, so I'll give you 19k a week. Loyalty bonus, agent fee, that's okay. I might actually bump those up a little bit. Sometimes you actually give a little bit of a sweetener to the agent and the player, and it sort of induces them to take a sort of a bit of a less contract. Appearance fee, and drop this down to 3.5k. Goal bonus, 4.5. Unused substitute fee. It's probably not going to happen, so I'm not really too worried about that. Yearly wage rise. I'm actually going to try and remove that if I can. Remove and exclude from negotiations. So yes, term, disappointing start. Yeah, dear me. So if we actually increase the wage because we've actually taken out the yearly wage increase, you can bump up the loyalty fee up to 350k, and the same with the agent there. We're going to go down to 23k now. Appearance fee at both 4.5. We'll suggest these. Still some issues. He wants 3.5k for appearance. Yeah, that's okay. Let's see if we can get you down to 23.5. Cool. Right, so it's a massive jump for him. I don't mind paying it though, because Davy Clarkson is going to be sort of someone that we build our team around. So if we lock him down for another 4 years, even though we're paying a fair bit extra, I'm not too bothered about doing that. Must respond. We have a we've sent him. What do we have to? Oh, I know. What do we have to? I know. So we had to respond, but we didn't have to do anything, so that was a bit weird. Alright, cool. So that's good. So we're going to get through some more of the game. Young Ajax have won their friendly, which is good. Damien van Bruggen. Facial injury, alright, so he's going to get some specialist protective equipment, which is quite cool. So injuries have been apparently revamped in Football Manager 2016. Apparently there's a whole lot more of sort of new injuries and, like, you know, a little bit more accurate and all that kind of stuff apparently. So apparently it's been revamped quite a lot. So this is obviously a new one, like a facial injury, and he's going to get some specialist equipment, so it's quite cool, but a little bit different. Ron Villar, so he'd want 18.25k to 34k a week. It's probably a little bit too much for us. Pros, wage demands. So actually, what do we do? We're going to say, where's there at view report? So he's obviously he would be one of our best defenders. I'm half tempted to actually see if we get rid of Johnny Heidinger. Although we've only just signed him, haven't we? So he's got a contract only until next year though, so we could potentially actually release him. Probably just too much, wouldn't it? Yeah, 600,000, which is actually not too bad really. I'm thinking maybe if we got rid of Johnny Heidinger, Although he would be a very good tutor. He's going to be a very good tutor, so he should... Where's his personality? Spirited. Yeah, it's not amazing personality, really. He's got some good attributes, especially composure and stuff like that. I'm just thinking he's 31. His attributes, his physical attributes aren't that bad, although all his technical and all that kind of stuff is still very, very good. We don't. I think we've got to basically steer clear of Ron Villar. I don't think it's really worth it. He's out for 4 to 5 months anyway. All right, cool. Didn't say that, so there we go. That's decided. We don't want to do that. Cool. So that's easy. We've got a new scout, which is good, and another new scout there. So some bunch of new scouts, which is awesome. So we've signed a few new guys. Got some recommendations. Which is your left back. Yeah, that's cool. Ron Villar, free transfer, and Alexander Kacinic. That's the right way to pronounce it. It's probably not. Training reports, yeah, that's fine. So a lot of our guys are unhappy with the high team training workload. They'll get over that in time. I'm not going to change it for them. We have a new coach, so Gerd Muller. She's good. Vieira takes charge of Aston Villa, which is interesting. We appointed Gerd Muller, Mr. Muller, as a coach. You have to pay 71,000 compensation, which is fine. He's a very, very good coach, though, so quite happy to have him there. So how are we going with all of our guys? We've only got a couple left to come in. So once they're in, we'll sort of revamp all of our coaching and stuff. Proposed transfer doesn't need any more. So you're not amazing, really, I suppose. Although you do have sort of Argentinian and South American experience, which we don't really have at the moment. I don't want to get rid of any of our other scouts. They're all pretty good. So we're going to cancel the transfer. There we go. So we finalise that. I think that's actually all of our coaches, all of our new coaches that have come in. So jump into transfers. Yeah, it is. So that's all of our new coaches. So we're going to jump into the staff. So we've got a whole bunch of news. We've got 10 scouts now, which is really good. We've actually got the best scouting in the Eredivisie, which was good. So we're actually sort of only basically around the average. Physios, we've hired a few more. We're sort of above average now. We have the 3rd best physio rating in the Eredivisie. And we've actually increased our defensive rating up to the best and our goalkeeping up to the 3rd best. So it's really, really good. It's made some good improvements in terms of our abilities, our coaching, our scouting, and our physios. So very, very good. So what we're going to do, scouting is set up. Actually, I don't think I actually showed you these guys. This is responsibilities I actually play within this game. So I've got our director of football finds and makes offers for young players, but I have final say whether they actually get signed. Contract negotiations for youth team players is handled by our head of youth development. Anyone we transfer, list and loan is handled by our director of football. What else have we got here? Sets assignments for the scouting team. I actually leave this to the chief scout. I know you can do it yourself, but given that we're sort of basically going to try and maintain just our Dutch players, I'm not too worried about leaving the chief scout to do that. General training for the youth squads, we'll leave it for our head of youth development. Everything else is pretty much me. First team, we've got our assistant manager arranging friendly matches. He also handles press conferences, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much all the sort of the different stuff. So, alrighty, what we're going to do, we're going to jump into our coaching here and sort all this out. What I think I may do, guys, I'm going to sort of reset all this, and I'll sort of send it all out, and I'll pause the video, and I'll be back in a tick to show you what I've done. Alrighty, guys, and we're back. I have just realised that we are lacking a defending coach now that Jaap Stam is gone. So what we're going to do, we are going to go out and find a good defensive coach. Also, we can hire an under-19s manager, which we don't currently have, so we're going to do that. We're going to do both of those things now. We're going to do staff search. Staff role is a coach. Staff attributes is the defending. There we are. Cool. So, what have we got here? A couple of decent guys here, hopefully. Defending, yeah, you're okay. Not too amazing. So you're probably going to be better, I think, Mr. Carl Hooper. Yeah, we're going to go with Carl Hooper. Do have to probably pay Birmingham some compensation. That's so fun. We're going to, that's okay. We're going to offer him a role as a coach. There we go. He's very interested, which is good. A little bit more money, another year in your contract, suggest terms, that's all good, cool. Done. So that is good. So that is all that, which is awesome. So we're going to have actually, I think what you do, rather than sort of going through here trying to actually find a under 19s manager, actually you just put an advert out for it. So you put down an advert for an under 19s manager, which is good, and yeah, that's all we need. So that is good. B team. I think we probably get some more staff here as well, can't we? So we can get one more coach. We can. What else can we get? Actually, it's probably easy to see from the board. So B team. What can we grab? We've got B team assistant manager. Don't really need those. We've got a B team manager, which is fine. What else can we get? B team staff, coaching staff. We can get one more B team coach, and that's pretty much it. So that's all we can get there. So that's totally fine. Cool. So we're going to go back to the job center and place an advert for a B team. I may as well get assistant manager, I guess. It's another sort of coach, isn't it? So, and B team coach. There we go. So cool. So a few jobs and stuff. We'll see what we can get from those guys. Departure of B team manager Yap Stam to NAC Breeder. Wish him the very best luck, and I think he'll be a tremendous success. So a few searches from some new coaches. We got 200k from NAC Breeder for Yap Stam. So I'd rather would have rather to keep him, but that's life. Alrighty, Parnaby set for youth development. Yeah, that's fine. Blah blah blah. This Montenegrin player. No, we're not going to go for him. For youngsters to turn professional. Van der Hoorn is going to a Turkish Super League club. So he's really good. So we can recall him. And he's going to hopefully should be a first team player as well. So that is really good. So we're going to speak to him and say. Go for this one. I'm keen to continue my development. If you think that's what's best for my development, who am I to argue? Cool. All right, so we're going to accept that, and he's going to go out online, which is good for him, good for us. I actually proposed philosophy talks, which you can do this. We want to be judged on a couple of things, basically possession football and developing players. So I'd like to be allowed to play a possession football and a new philosophy, and also developing players. Allowed to develop young players and bring them through to become first team regulars. I think that's pretty much it. I have no further suggestions. We expect you to work, so they've actually agreed to both of those. That is good. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's easy to work without no philosophies, but it's something for me to sort of work towards. So that is good. Alrighty, a new friendly, guys. So I'm going to jump in and sort this out, and we'll be back once we're finished. And we're back, everyone. It was a 2-1 defeat to Red Bull Salzburg. I'm not too really worried about that. Obviously, they did have a lot more shots. We had more possession. So pre-season, all that kind of stuff, really doesn't matter. Results, I don't really care at all, which is fine. So we're going to keep going through here. Another minute and a half or so to go on the episode. Not too long. Got a bunch of friendlies, obviously, lined up here. Some players being offered to us. A new coach, so that is good. So he'll be our defensive coach, so it'll be good to have him done. We can set up our coaching. It should be awesome. So we've pretty much improved our coaching. We should have hopefully, but mainly around 4-star on most of our stats. Attacking is actually not quite as good as I would have hoped it would be. So jump into training, coaches, and Mr. Carl Hooper. Yep, defending. So he's 4-star. Which is fine. Again, one of our little other B team guys just to sort of take the load off there. So it's all sort of average workload, which is good. 4-star in everywhere but attacking, which so Mr. Muller hasn't done quite as well as I would have hoped. So not quite sure why that would be. Should be a fairly decent coach for his for his stats and things. I guess some of his mental stats are a little bit low in terms of motivating and discipline and stuff like that, determination. So maybe that has something to do with it. Anyway, we're definitely improved, so that is good. So I'm fairly happy with all that. So I'm pretty happy with what we've done there. So that's good. Bunch of messages here, which is fine. You just keep going through. What I think I may do, guys, we've got a couple of friendly matches here. I may actually play both of them. So I may pause the video and play both of them, and then we'll come back and see. Because I don't think anything too exciting is going to happen between now and then. So that's fine. Bunch of messages here, nothing too exciting. So, Mr. Laren Duarte is going to a Turkish Super League club as well, so that is good. So, obviously, he has the recall option there and first team squad status, so he should get some games. Going to say, going out on loan is a great opportunity to showcase your skills. Look at your situation when you return. I think it provided opportunity to flourish and fight for a place in my squad, which is good. Good answer. So, we're going to let him go out there, which is good. Awesome. Bunch of messages here, nothing too exciting. Available players for the BT match. There's no one because we're playing a game today. Alrighty, here's the draw for the Champions League qualifier. So we've been seeded for the draw in the first seed, or the seeded team. So we're gonna do it one by one. See how we go. So it's good. We missed out AS Monaco. So basically, we want to miss Shakhtar or CSKA, which would be I think we should do. Which is good. We didn't get them, which is awesome. CSKA, good. We missed them, so we're gonna get hopefully a pretty decent draw. Awesome. Rapid, the Austrian team. So that is good. So that is not a bad draw from us actually. How did they go last season? Competitions. Austrian Premier Division. They won it. Didn't win it. They were second last year. Second for the last couple of seasons. So quite interesting. I think we should do fairly well against them. Can we get a report from them? I don't think we have anything, do we? So I say get a team report from, I think John Steen Olsen is one of our best coaches. So we need to get a report from you, and that's good. So he's awesome. So we've got Rapid in the qualifying. So it's be a 2-leg, obviously, game. So that should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we do fairly well here. Or do fairly well there, I should say. Alrighty guys, what I think I'm going to do, 32 minutes on the clock. I think I'm actually going to run both of these friendlies. I'll pause the video. We'll come back, see how we went in those 2 friendlies, and then we'll end the episode there. So I'll be back in a minute once I process these games. And we're back, everyone. So those two friendlies, one was a defeat, one was a win, which is good. So not too worried, like I mentioned, about results. So it's fine. Still got a couple of friendlies to go. A couple of interesting things did happen. I did want to mention just before we finish. What have we got here? So that's all that fine. Kenny T got injured in the first friendly, so that's fine, about 7 to 9 days. Training camp is was underway, so it will end in another 7 days, which is fine. Actually, Real Sociedad poached one of our under-19s fitness coaches, so we actually offered him a new contract, but he didn't take it. He's left to go there, which is fine. Man United made an offer for Yarmolenko, which is interesting, so not a bad player, so that's quite interesting for them. What else have we got here? David Klaassen signed the new deal, which is good, so he's now in a 4-year contract, which is really quite good, so happy to keep him there. But as soon as that happened, Victor Fischer asked for a new contract, wants an improved contract to basically, he said to bring his pay in line with his other teammates. We took a hard line with him and basically said that his performances on the pitch would have to justify it. He protested at first, but then we stuck to our guns and he basically said he hasn't got a choice but to basically, improve his worth on the pitch. And if he does do that, I'm happy to give him a new contract. So, but for now, not just going to give someone a new contract just because they asked for it. So. And I think that's pretty much everything. There's nothing really anything else that happened, so he's pretty good. So we've gone through, a big chunk of our pre-season, which is awesome. Set up our training, all that kind of stuff, so that is good. So I'm going to actually end the episode here, guys. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Hope you'll stick around for the rest of the series. It should be a lot of fun. And as always, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video. That would be enormously, enormously appreciated. Cool. All right. Hope you've all had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all for the next episode. See you soon, guys.